wanted to come back and just say thank you so much for all your support with the return of this series. Unfortunately, last Thursday, I got sick, and I was sick all through the weekend up until yesterday. I didn't think I'd be able to get the video up yesterday because I was still recovering, and I woke up today feeling better. So it's a day late, but I was sick. I wanted to make sure I was better. I was originally going to film this yesterday, being Monday, but I really couldn't really talk without coughing. So feeling great this evening. So, well, not 100% yet, but I'm getting there. So I just figured I'd go ahead and film this week's episode. And it's going to be a little bit different because I was sick. I pushed my plans a week ahead, and this episode is going to be a little bit shorter, and I'm going to be talking about a movie that I watched while I was sick for the first time. So today we're going to be talking about 1967's Les Samouraï. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure. But yes, so that's what we're going to be talking about today on Ryan's Cinematic Obsessions. Alright everybody, so I bought this I bought it a while back, and this is something that I've always seen the cover for. I've always wanted to see this film, and I just never got around to doing it. And so I found it for a great price on DVD at a used place, and only got it for $10. That was it. And I've had it in my Criterion collection for a while now, and I just haven't watched it yet. So I was sick, and a few days earlier than when I watched this, I saw my buddy Skin Slip on YouTube shared on Twitter a GIF from this movie, and then he was talking about everybody needs to see this movie right now. It's so beautiful, and he was giving it high praise. And so I was like, you know what? I own that movie. I need to see that soon. Fast forward a couple days, I was sick. I couldn't really get into anything that I was trying to watch. When I was sick, I basically was watching, my Columbo DVDs and, some other odds and ends. And so finally, last Friday, I was in a position where I wanted to watch a new movie. A movie I haven't seen. Not necessarily new. So I went over to my Criterion Collection shelf, grabbed this, put it in, and started the film. And so this was directed by Jean-Pierre Melville, and yeah, it came out in 1967, and it stars Alain Delon. That's probably not how you pronounce it at all, but basically all I knew going into it is that the main character was a contract killer, and that is it. Obviously I know of the director and I've known of the film, but that's all I knew of the actual plot and what it was about. So basically what the movie is about is almost like a weekend or a couple days in the life of a contract killer, and the plot is very simple, and it just deals with him on a job, and it shows the meticulous detail he has for each and every thing that he does in terms of setting up an alibi, all that kind of stuff, getting the weapons, getting license plate, a new license plate on a car that he had stolen, like all the meticulous plans that goes into each and every single assignment that he has. And when you look at this guy, perfect suit, nice hat, he carries himself really well, and you could just tell that every single thing he does is detailed and meticulous, and he thinks about every single thing. His apartment that he stays in is actually bare. All that's in it is a bed, a little side table. I'm pretty sure there's a side table. And he has a bird cage that has a bird in it. that basically makes noises the entire time he's in the apartment. And so basically, you follow him on this routine mission, and it seems that everything goes wrong. And the movie is about the fallout from that over the course of a few days. And boy, every single image of this film is like art. And I know it's kind of cliche to say that, but every single image, it's like when I was watching it, I've seen a lot of like, these French New Wave type films, and I know they're really great in terms of the style and everything, but this one is so simple, and it was almost like the look of this film was, if you take the it's almost like if Wes Anderson and Stanley Kubrick, in terms of their symmetry for the image, it was like that, but everything is simple. Like it's almost like he was like, you know what, this is gonna be, everything in this movie, and the image is gonna be kind of minimalist in terms of his apartment and everything that's in the image. It isn't gonna be a bunch of clutter. It's not gonna be a bunch of filler stuff for the image itself. It's hard to really explain, but that's kind of a way to explain the look of it. But every single shot is perfection. And I don't say that about a lot of movies. There's some movies where you see a shot here and there that may be kind of off. And this could be for like, movies that are considered perfect. I could look at a movie like The Godfather, which is my favorite movie of all time, or Citizen Kane, or Seven Samurai. You could look at every single movie and see like one shot that's probably off. Not necessarily that it was a mistake. It's just slightly like off. It doesn't. You guys know what I'm talking about. If you're watching this video, you know movies. You know exactly what I'm talking about. There's always going to be like one little thing. I can't really give examples. My brain isn't exactly 100% yet, but basically, this film, if I watch it again, I might see a frame that actually probably, or like just a little clip or something like that that maybe is a little off in compared to the style of the entire film, because there's always like one thing in a movie. For instance, like I rewatched Taxi Driver today, and I could not find a scene in that movie, like any kind of a image in that movie that was kind of off or just kind of different. Now, there's some things like The Godfather, a movie that I love. There's some things in that movie, not some things, but there's a few images in that movie and shots that just seem different in terms of the tone for the rest of the movie. Mainly, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's kind of like if you know what I'm trying to say. I'm really having a brain fart, but I want to keep this unedited. I want to keep this in. But it'd be like if you're watching like a Stanley Kubrick movie, and finally there came a shot that was kind of like it wasn't all there. The symmetry wasn't all there. It was just almost like that was like it almost seemed like it was filmed by a second unit, or and it wasn't like overseen by the actual director. Stuff like that. And this film, I could not find one of those shots or one of those scenes. Like, I was engrossed and like brought into the whole style of it, that it never let up. And that's one of the things I loved about this film the most. Is not only is the script, in terms of the dialogue, how the story is told, is pretty perfect, but all the images, all the cinematography, everything is like spot on. And I was thinking, like when I started watching the movie, I was like, okay, I wonder if this is gonna be kind of like a French New Wave type film that actually, things kind of spiral out of control to where it's just like complete utter chaos and bloodshed and craziness. Kind of like, I would say, like Band of Outsiders, a film that I love. but it actually, I mean, it's kind of crazy, but it never spirals down like that, and that's what kind of caught me off guard. I was thinking it was going to be chaotic and insane and nuts, but it's still, even when he's going through these crazy things, he's still very methodical in what he does and trying to get to the next place in mind that he, where he needs to be as a character and as a, person. But yeah, everything about this movie I loved, and I can't wait. I'm actually going to pick it up on Blu-ray eventually, and I want to kind of see more films like this. So yeah, so that is my review of Les Samouraï. I think that's how you pronounce it. He also this movie has a lot of like, he always ties this character into almost being like a modern day samurai. He lives by that code where he's by himself, and he fulfills every single thing about his mission. And so, gosh, I wasted so much time talking about that the inconsistency with some footage. But I didn't really give an example. But I think you guys know what I'm probably talking about. There's just sometimes these like things in movies where, I do change my mind about the taxi driver thing. You're so into the style of the movie, but then there's a couple scenes. Well, for me, there's one scene, and it is the scene where Harvey Keitel is dancing with Jodie Foster's character, and the scene is just so, to me, out of place. That's really what I was trying to go for. Like, when there's something that's kind of out of place, and maybe it's because Taxi Driver is technically from the point of view of Travis Bickle. So when that scene comes along, like, you're like, this isn't really from his point of view. That's what I mean by it kind of throws me off. And in The Godfather, kind of like, and it really comes down to personal preference. The Godfather, the scene to me that is kind of out of place for the understatedness of the whole film, and it's very quiet, even though it's about crime and stuff like that. You come to a scene like when Carlo and Connie fight and he's beating her up. It's kind of out of place. I mean, yes, it is very important in terms of telling the story, but the length of it and just the duration of the entire scene, that scene always kind of bugged me. And of course, later I found out, like, the making of type stuff that I've read on it. Francis Ford Coppola said that he only filmed that scene because the studio thought that it needed more action. And so they came up with that scene and they filmed it. That's really what I meant. It wasn't necessarily like, basically this movie, it was simple and you're really following this guy and everything he's doing. But it's almost like, because it's in so many movies, you're expecting maybe a scene that just did not fit in the movie. Like, whether it was just something that didn't fit the tone. Anyway, I blabber on enough about that what I was trying to make. And I was just very happy because even movies that I love, there's always a scene like that, or one scene like, even though we say a scene is or a movie's perfect, there's some movies that we love that, whereas, like, from a technical standpoint, it actually is phenomenal. It just falls kind of short from everything else to us. And movies that we love and we say are perfect, still deep down, some of them actually have little things about it that kind of annoy us. Not annoy us, but just kind of feel off. And not everybody feels that. I mean, not everybody may feel that same opinion about that movie or those scenes. So, yeah, so that completes this week's episodes of Ryan Cinematic Obsession. And next week, we will be talking about Argento films, the 3 Argento films I saw over the course of 2 weeks. I definitely want to talk about those. I was going to talk about those this week, but I got sick, and I didn't want to film those reviews, all 3 of those reviews, without actually feeling well enough to talk. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.